the Attorney General's office is ramping up its investigation into misused money at the Nevada SPCA. Millions of dollars collected for a new shelter that was never built. Good evening, I'm Trisha Keene.
And I'm Ty Quinones. 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears is continuing to peel away the layers of deception that have surrounded the shelter.
And tonight, Darcy takes an exclusive look at the innocent animals caught up in this ongoing scandal.
Lily has been confined to a kennel at the Nevada SPCA for a year and a half. Lafayette has been in this dark, dank run for nearly 2 years.
These kennels are small by today's standards and run down and not very humane.
Humane Network President Bonnie Brown says former NSPCA President Kathy Jung and her administration would purposely pull unadoptable dogs from places like the Animal Foundation, dogs that had badly injured people and pets. Brown says NSPCA did not provide proper evaluation, rehabilitation, or veterinary care to the dogs. Back in November, Kathy Jung said they got help from an outside group.
And they get socialization once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week, where they go down and they get training, they get a playtime.
Bonnie says that was not true for all of them.
You can see the psychological effects of this by circling and spinning behavior that you see in some of the kennels. Other dogs just become extremely frustrated and then they begin sort of aggressing because there's a barrier there. So a dog can actually deteriorate from long-term housing.
Previous management also failed to keep proper records or histories on the dangerous dogs, which kept volunteers in the dark.
They had no idea that the dogs they were walking had caused serious harm to people or other animals before. So not disclosing that, that's pretty serious.
And as we've reported, it did have serious consequences for former volunteers Harold Street.
What did you know about this dog's history?
I didn't.
And Joanne Phillips, who nearly lost her foot after being attacked by a shelter dog she was taking out for a walk.
It just boggles my mind that something like that could happen. I mean, what if that dog was adopted out to a family of young children?
Now, Humane Network is dealing with other dangerous dogs.
And we are looking for placement for them with skilled rescues, skilled sanctuaries, or rehab facilities.
Unreliable shelter records have also made it hard to track what's happened to some dogs. They're still looking for Namath, who seems to have disappeared and may have been euthanized. NSPCA records show Namath was sent to a rescue in Utah, but it's got a phone number no one answers that appears to belong to a power company. As for the shelter's cats, many of them were also neglected, kept in this basement room for years.
We discovered they had a bacterial skin infection. So that's been treated with an antibiotic shot for each of the cats.
But they were in that condition and not being treated?
Well, sadly, that's true. And also 2 of the cats were not neutered, and some of the cats had ear mites and eye infections.
They're getting proper medical treatment now so they can be adopted, though some are feral and need to be placed as barn cats.
Is it a bit of a head scratcher for you to be discovering all of these special needs creatures whose needs were not being met?
It's very sad, and one can only assume that the organization was overwhelmed and was taking in animals that were beyond their capacity for care.
NSPCA has no licensed veterinarian or vet techs on staff. We asked Jung about that.
Do you feel like what you have is enough?
Yes, 100%. We have amazing, amazing vets that we work with right now.
But Bonnie says the fractured care they were getting from private practice vets in the community was expensive and incomplete. She also discovered NSPCA staff members medicating animals and performing veterinary care without a license or any formal training.
And a few times they put cats in there that brought in infections, and then all the cats would be euthanized under this kinds of failure to thrive.
Bonnie says the concept of no kill was cast aside more than once.
At least twice, cats were euthanized in large numbers.
The shelter isn't only home to cats and dogs. There are all kinds of animals here at the SPCA, including these rabbits that have lived down in this room, which some call a dungeon, in many cases for years, under a leaking roof with little ventilation and no access to potential adopters.
Some of them have been here for years, as long as 8 years, and lived their whole life here.
She recently discovered staffers had removed intake dates from cages in an effort to conceal how long the bunnies had been there. But she put a stop to that and relocated all the rabbits to this sunny room that's open to the public.
And we're going to celebrate adoptions by ringing a bell.
They've significantly lowered adoption fees for all the shelter animals, and where former management kept the public out, the Humane Network is inviting potential adopters into the kennels, paving the way with paw prints as they work to create a more friendly and welcoming environment. We have information on the difficult to place dogs on our website. Also, if you'd like to help with some of the building rehab work, Humane Network needs you. Go to ktnv.com for contact information. Darcy Spears, 13 Investigates.